In the beginning, it's also important to talk about the key scholars of critical discourse analysis so that you may know about the important personalities who have been working in this field for last few decades. Uh, First of all, I'll talk about Norman Fairclough. He has been is a very prominent name, and his model has been very popular in many of the recent practical studies in critical discourse analysis. He started his work in CDA somewhere in 1980s with his works like critical and descriptive goals in discourse analysis, where he actually wanted to link his academic endeavors with his political activities or thoughts, in other words. So he focused more on discourse as an element in the production, maintenance, and transformation of certain kind of social ideology, uh, especially related to the existing socioeconomic order. And he had a clear purpose to provide people an understanding to change that order, also socioeconomic order, also for their own betterment and understanding of the future. He has produced numerous works which are not possible to be enumerated here even, or to talk about in detail. But one of the main streams of his work has been about a discourse in late modernity, and he focused on various other works like discourse analysis, new labor, new language, and language and globalization. He looked into these discourses and analyzed them for the understanding of ordinary people. He focused on transdisciplinary nature of critical discourse analysis, and that means he involved various other fields or the theories of various other fields to strengthen or to produce some energy into his research work. He has drawn upon the cultural critical economy also of Jessup, uh, and his work, one of his important work, has been in collaboration with Isabella Fairclough also, where he brought in argumentation theory and politics into his overall analysis. So with Isabella, he has also produced work on political discourse, also which are a kind of authority in political discourse analysis in recent times. The next in line is Ruth Wudhik. She is also a very dominant name in the contemporary critical discourse analysis scholars. She is an emeritus professor at Lancaster University, and she has been affiliated with University of Vienna also. She has worked on a very important project which is about discourse and national identity, and it's a national level project which was conducted in Austria in 2015. And he focused more on the development of theoretical approaches in discourse studies, especially combining history, ethnography, argumentation theories, rhetoric, and text linguistics. She was more interested in working in identity politics and politics of the past than language, of how racism is enacted through language, prejudice, and discrimination. Combining several fields and various aspects of analysis, she developed a very important approach which is known as discourse historical approach, to understand a text from its historical perspective, not only the history in terms of dates, but also history in terms of discursive practices and discourse events. So this approach helps us to understand the discourse about a particular event based on its history, its historical discourse events, and the genres it has been developed into. The next and the last in this list here is, because I cannot include many scholars, though there have been many people working in the field of critical discourse analysis these days, but these three have been very important. The next one is Von Dijk. So Von Dijk, which was born in 1943, was a professor of discourse studies at University of Amsterdam, and he has done enormous work in the field of critical discourse analysis. In the 90s, his work extended towards a more general study of the role of power and ideology in discourse and the reproduction of socio-political beliefs in society. His projects after 2000 were more about discourse, context, and knowledge, in which he turned more towards contemporary critical discourse analysis, and he talked about how context, how various socio-political knowledge actually affects the production of knowledge. He has published more than 250 articles according to a source I consulted. He holds 3 honorary doctorates, and his work has been translated into a dozen languages, including Russian, Arabic, Chinese, and Japanese. That shows the strength and the importance of his work. He also founded many journals, including a Dutch linguistics journal and 6 other journals, including Poetics, A Text and Talk, Discourse and Society, Discourse Studies, Discourse and Communication, and 1 Spanish journal on discourse. His contributions are countless. It is not possible to sum them up in this limited time. As I said earlier, there are many other people who have been working in this field recently, and also for some time now. Let's say we have Paul Chi is working, and he has developed the theory of 7 building blocks, but it was not possible to include them all in this small piece of lecture, so you can read them on your own.